Switch this now to Tampa Bay, Connor, and I'll ask both you guys the same question that I asked about Bijan Robinson rest of the season. Kirk Cousins or Baker Mayfield, who was brilliant in a loss but didn't throw 58 times, didn't throw for 500 yards. He finishes with 23.4 fantasy points. Really good day at the office, but 11 points worse than Kirk Cousins. But where rest of the season, which one? Who do you like of these two?
I would take Baker.
I'd take Baker.
Yeah, Baker's running a little bit.
Yes, he is.
Baker's running a little bit. I mean, listen, for whatever reason, and I know he got banged up, they took their foot off the gas in the second half. It feels like Baker Mayfield's going to throw 3 touchdowns every week. And if you're signing me up for that and 20 to 40 rushing yards, I mean, I'm all in. While Kirk Cousins, I just think there's more variance, Jay.
I agree. I just think Baker's a better quarterback in this state than Kirk. And Kirk was magnificent last night, obviously, but still, like, you get Kirk, if the pocket collapses on Kirk, there's not really much that he can do. Baker is at least a little bit mobile. Baker's the number 3 quarterback by PFF grade on the season. He's playing extremely well.
Yes, he
I have
is.
a bit more faith in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin than I do Drake London was amazing last night, but I still think Baker has slightly better weapons. They are throwing the ball a ton relative to expectation, even though they probably didn't throw it enough last night. So look, I think it's a discussion, but I mean, forget like the ceiling was collapsing on Kirk Cousins before last night. Like everyone thought, like, oh, is the like Penix, like
right? Yeah.
So I mean, it was one game, and it's a very good game, an indication going forward. But I'd still rather have Baker.
The Bucs defenses don't take things from games against the Bucs defense as sustainable fact. Would be my point.
Yes, but the positives there is that because that Bucs defense is so bad, Baker's constantly going to be in negative game script where he's going to have to throw as well. To your point about the running, 107 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns this season for Baker Mayfield. No one's going to confuse him with Lamar Jackson. But yes, he does get you some points with his legs in a way that Kirk Cousins doesn't and won't, certainly coming off the Achilles. But I think both guys are viable. I mean, Baker's been nothing short of terrific this year, right? It's his 4th game with 18 or more fantasy points this year. But you know, Cousins is viable. Look, as always, top 12 fantasy quarterback, Kirk Cousins. That's what he is year in, year out.
Right on that line.
Yeah, exactly. He's not top 10. He's not top 14. He's top 12. He's right there. He's like QB 12 every year.
Yep. I think Kirk is going to be he's going to be extremely dependent on the quality of defense that he's facing. If he can play teams and he does have some easy defenses coming off in his schedule, including, nice, by the way, Tampa again in 3 weeks, where he's going to be must start based on this. But if he comes, like, there are going to be games where he looks like he did in week 1, where TJ Watt is teeing off on him, like when he plays at Minnesota later in the season, even when he gets at New Orleans as well, even at Denver, who have a really good defense. I think he's really going to struggle in those matchups where there is a pass rush and he is under pressure. But when he can just tee off on teams, like he showed last night that he's still got it.
As we look at the Falcons' schedule here,
so fantasy playoffs, like at Raiders, Giants, Commanders, like that stretch there. You get the Vikings of week 14, that's rough. But I mean, he's going to deliver in those matchups.
For sure. It's a really nice schedule. Listen, Falcons and Commanders might be for playoff seeding. That might be flexed into Sunday Night Football.
Listen, this sounds ridiculous. There is a non-zero chance that's for the 1 seed. Which is absolutely insane. Commanders are plus 210 to win their division or something.
I was texting with JP Finley, you know, who covers the Commanders for NBC Sports. Does a great job. One of my favorite guys, and he does an unbelievable job. And so him and I are texting about the team and everything like that, and I'm so nervous. Like, why do I think after a week of everyone in the national media being like Jaden Daniels this and the Commanders and blah blah blah, why do I think they're just going to lay an egg against the Browns? Like, I'm so nervous.
They're 3.5-point favorites. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and the Browns are a little desperate. I mean, the bad loss last week, like they're hungry. Myles Garrett is like
Deshaun quietly had probably his best game as a Brown last week too.
So I'm super nervous about that. Everyone's expecting like, the Giants beat the Browns. Come on, we got this easy. And I'm like, I'm nervous. I'm officially nervous. Like I'm not used to being in this position.
Now you have expectations.
Yeah,
it's not fun.
No,
it's not fun.
No, when I can come on here and just make fun of myself and make fun of my team, that's easy.
Yes.
But now they've given me hope, Connor.
Right.
I don't know what
emotions.
I don't know what to do with that.
It's a dangerous thing, as
It's
they
dangerous.
said in Shawshank Redemption.
It's absolute hell.
Hope is a dangerous thing, right? What's the Bane quote from like there can be hope? there can be no true despair without hope. You know,
I
like
think
they're,
you're
you know,
close.
like
Yes.
you know.
That's only the gist of what
Yes.
Bane was trying to communicate.
Yes.
No, when the scene, you know what I'm talking. The scene when they're in the
Yes.
jail, and he's just like, that's the key, you know, because they can see their thing, but there's the ledge, and like there can be no true despair without hope or what. I think
You're
that's
close.
the
We
quote.
went from Shawshank to Bane, which is
Well, the fire rises in Washington right now, but the defense is being left in the wreckage. So got to mix Bane metaphors.
That's I believe that's the same. I mean, there's been so many Batman movies, but like that's the Bane one is the one with where Hines Ward returns a touchdown and then the stadium blows up.
We'll be
sorry
there.
Sorry for ruining
Yeah,
that.
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
only been
We'll be
replayed
there on
online
Sunday.
40 million times.
We can recreate it.
That's true. We are.
It's
We will
terrifying.
be Jay and myself, George the Greek, and Lord Don't Lose himself, Lawrence Jackson, will be at Acrisure Stadium in
That's
Pittsburgh Sunday night. Of course, Sunday morning fantasy football pregame at the Applebee's on
Steubenville Pike.
Steubenville Pike,
read it
Route
enough.
60.
Pumped.
Be there from 11 to 1. Come out, say hi, dress as Jay. There's a chance you walk away with one of his kids, and then we're there on the sidelines. There you go. Look at that. There's our promo card. Yeah.
6570 Steubenville Pike.
Route 60 in Pittsburgh. Doors open at 10:30 a.m. Sunday morning. We'll be there live from 11 to 1. There will be booze available. There will be food available. I'll be giving out a lot of it. And I suggest coming before noon because I intend to be drunk on air by noon. But from 11 to 1, I should be good. I'll be just buzzed and happy.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
not a bit either. Matthew was very.
No.
loaded
This is no.
last
If
time.
you saw the show from Philadelphia last year, you know that like those Dollaritas go down easy.
Yes. No, they do. They're plentiful.
Yeah. 1,000%. So anyway,
Yes, Dollar Zombies coming
they're
right
not
up.
calling. They're called Dollar Zombies. And I intend to drink many of them on air. It's week 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
A long time to go.
It's a marathon.
Long time to go. Last thing I want to mention, 2 quick things I want to mention, and then we'll get out of this game. Cade Otton, great call by you on the over on the receiving yards. 3rd straight game now with at least 40 receiving yards for Cade Otton. He's got a 20% target share. Just so, again, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Like
That's
it's
the
not
second
great.
time you've used that this week.
It's not great, but I'm just saying like Cade Otton is a usable tight end in fantasy these days, especially as long as Jalen McMillan is out. But while Cade Otton is usable, I'm not convinced either of these running backs are guys. Like, it's truly a timeshare. They're not running well. It was obviously a tough matchup for the Buccaneers on the ground game, but Bucky Irving had the bad fumble, has yet to have a game with more than 12 touches, hasn't had a double-digit target share since week 1, but he's getting some work. 3rd straight game with at least 11 touches. He has gotten 8 red zone rushes and 5 goal line carries in the past 2 games. He saw the only goal line rush in week 5 as well. But just Rachaad White won't go away either, right? He had 72 rushing yards. That was a season high for him. But he's averaging 8 fantasy points per game over the last 4. Like, it's just mixing match. I still think Bucky Irving's the better running back, but Todd Bowles doesn't. And neither of them are getting enough work where you feel.
That's the issue. It's just a useless backfield now. It
Yes.
went from being like, okay, Rachaad White volume to, is Bucky Irving going to arrive?
Be a
now
thing.
Nothing matters.
Nothing.
Until it tilts one way too far.
Right? I get we're getting into bye weeks and you get desperation with your running backs, but feels like unless you're in a super deep league, you'd prefer to have a wide receiver in your flex and then just have somebody that isn't a Tampa Bay Buccaneer running back in your 2 running back slots.
Yeah, you mentioned how Todd Bowles is kind of an old school conservative coach. You know what old school conservative coaches tend to do? They tend to minimize the 4th round rookie running back after they fumble to lose the most traumatic game in recent history for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'd be a little bit worried about that. After Irving fumbled, naturally it was Rachaad White who came in, and I just wonder if that is going to linger a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it just means in the 4th quarter when they have a lead, you might not see Bucky Irving, and that's concerning.
Yeah.
That
So,
is
that's
concerning.
a really
Although,
good point,
for
Chad.
whatever it's worth, after that bad fumble, I thought, well, there goes. But he was back out there on the next drive. So, I mean, they did go back to him a little bit. But it does mean, to your point, they're not going to suddenly give him the full job because, like, it's, anyway, what are you going to do?
So
Tough day at the office for Bucky Irving and the entire Buccaneers.
Absolutely crazy game. Check out the win probability for the Falcons throughout this one. It really was just, I love these. It's absolutely nuts. You just see it fall off a cliff here in their thrilling win. And this was not the only crazy Thursday night game because the Mets and Brewers somehow topped this on the win probability chart with an absolute straight line thanks to Pete Alonso's 3-run home run in the 9th inning in Milwaukee that left people stunned. And for that, Pete Alonso drinks for free at the Fantasy Football Happy Hour Bar. Let's go Mets.
100%. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Look, I don't want to sit here and be like a bandwagon fan because I am,
Welcome aboard.
What?
Welcome aboard.
Well, my team is the Angels, whatever, and they're
terrible.
Yeah, they are not good. Exactly.
Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, you never made the playoffs.
Like one of the
Pretty
great tragedies. One of the great
You
tragedies.
got a 20-win head start on the rest of the competition. You never made the playoffs.
It's unbelievable how bad. But like I've been distracted by how bad my Commanders were. So for so long.
Fair.
But the Angels are my team to the extent that I have a baseball team. So I'm not Connor. I'm not some bandwagon guy that just went out and bought a brand new Francisco Lindor T-shirt for the show today. For example, look at that. It's still wrinkled. It just did you even wash it when it came? Literally, did you buy it on the way in? Did you stop at a grocery store and buy it on the way in?
It's 15-1. This show's ever been washed. I'll tell you that much. It's straight out of the.
It's like brand new, but it's making everyone. That's backup producer Pete. He came in, and backup producer Pete and I, we have a love-hate relationship, but he's so happy that his Mets won. Look at this. Not only does he come in and hug Jay, but look at this. He shook my hand.
That's a great picture.
That's a ridiculous
Backup producer Pete was so happy.
Photo taken?
I want to shake your hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
look how happy he is. Yeah, backup producer Pete.
Man.
Yeah, just anyway, let's go Mets. Connor Rogers.
The vibes are high at the Happy Hour Bar.
Yeah,
Who needs sleep?
1,000%. This is your team that you love.
Yes, since I was 4 years old and was able to process baseball, I've been on many downs and a few ups with the Mets.
What did last night mean to you?
Oh my God, it was one of the greatest baseball games I've ever watched. When Pete Alonso hit the home run, I legitimately fell off the couch onto the floor. Scared the absolute hell out of my dog, but that was fine. She ran upstairs. She had enough. But and my wife, Kristen, is
where was Kristen there?
Huge Mets fan.
Oh, is she?
She's probably a bigger Mets fan than me.
Wow.
Now she's.
You guys had a good night.
We had a lot of fun. It was awesome.
Yep.
It was awesome. Let's see if they can keep it rolling against Phillies, who are tough. I heard from Penn State Blake immediately.
I'm sure you did.
Didn't even let me enjoy 3 minutes of the win. Just instantly went into Mets Phillies chat.
Yeah, of course.
Classic
Penn State. You know what?
Blake.
But Penn State Blake is no longer part of the show. So go Mets. F you, Penn State Blake. Yeah, we're a Mets team. We're a Mets show.
We are a Mets show, and my fandom pales in comparison to Cotter and Kristen's, though. I did grow up a Mets fan. In 2006,
really?
In 2006, I was 14 years old in 2006. For some reason, I bought the 1986 World Series on box set, DVD, which still sits in my mum's garage in Melbourne, bizarrely. I watched all those games, strangely. I got in because the Mets, they lose to the Cardinals, 2006 NLCS. Beltran takes the curve from Wainwright to strike out. So I am a Mets fan, but not
like Connor. Not like Connor. I'm a bandwagon. I'm completely cop to it. I'm a bandwagon guy. I don't really have a team in the playoffs at the moment, so I will happy to jump on the bandwagon in support of my friend Jay, my friend Connor, my friend backup producer Pete, Matt Casey, who works here as well, also a big Mets fan. A lot of my buddies are Mets fans, so in honor of them, let's go Mets.
No one wants to see the Phillies win.
No. Matthew, people can call you many things. A front runner is not one of them. You root for the Angels and the Commanders.
That's right.
And the Lakers, to be fair.
What?
The Lakers, too.
And the Lakers. But I'm stuck with the Lakers.
Yes.
I've been a Lakers fan since Del Harris was their coach.
You're a Lakers fan.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I've stuck with them through, it's been a little lean the last couple of years. You know what I mean? And so I'm stuck with them.
Bronny.
Didn't win the title in 2020, but that's okay.
We won the title in 2020, 100%. Still counts, no asterisk.
No asterisk to that. That should be boosted as a title.
Yeah,
it's very hard in the bubble.
For sure. I root for Texas A&M, for Syracuse, Maryland. I had a chance of any Big Ten team. I chose Maryland.
This is right.
I'm not a front runner. 1,000% not. No.
Fremantle Dockers fan in the Australian Football League.
Exactly.
The Dockers.
Yeah, huge,
they've never won anything. Freo.
Yeah. Huge Dockers fan.
All
right. Who's your? I like him.
The Magpies.
The Magpies. I'm a big Pies guy.
You like them so much that
I couldn't remember. It took me a second, but I love the Pies.
Yeah, we love
Go Pies.
You root for USA in the Olympics? Man of many rooting interests.
Pie up. Pie up, I say.
Yes, pie up. All right, how about the Week 5 injuries we're tracking? Deontay Johnson dealing with an ankle injury. As at the top here, you see Anthony Richardson. That's a coin flip right now. Richardson has been limited through 2 practices, but it sounds like from what the media's been able to see, it's some light throwing. I wouldn't be shocked if we see Joe Flacco in that. We'll see.
Say his name.
We'll see. Sorry, Jay. Jonathan Taylor dealing with the weirdest ankle sprain we've ever heard of. Once again, that that's not looking good either right now.
While we were on the air, NFL Network reporting Joe Mixon isn't going to play again this week. He's not at practice, so once again it'll be Cam Akers and Dare Ogunbowale for the Texans as they take on. Who do they play this week? Oh, yeah.
The Bills.
The Bills, that's right, of
Big
course.
game.
The Bills, huge game. Home game against the Bills, that's right. The Stephon Diggs revenge game.
With Jonathan Taylor, by the way, the thing about Taylor is that his entire career up until 2022, it's like, oh, he never missed a practice. He's just been healthy his whole life. Now he's just constantly dealing with these niggling injuries, which is a bit of a concern.
So, right. So it'll likely be Trey Sermon there for the Colts if JT can't go. We know Devontae Adams isn't going to play.
Again for the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. Does it matter if Raheem Mostert plays or not?
I was thinking this too. To show you how bad this is in our league of assholes.
Yeah.
Number one, I just never trust them to play anymore because they burn you on game time decision. I don't think the Dolphins are going to do anything offensively. I put in Cade Otton over Raheem Mostert just to get the 8 points.
Yeah.
Just give me. I just needed a floor play.
I hear you. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. You see Brian Robinson there. That was a concerning big one. He's been so good for them. He's missed the last 2 days of practice as well. We'll see what today is. This is one of the things I was texting with JP Finley about, and he just pointed out that the one thing is that Brian Robinson did have media available, and sorry JP if I'm, but he just mentioned that Brian Robinson did have media availability this week, which often if the player's not going to play, they usually don't have him available to the media. So at least that was a positive sign. There is the expectation, however, that Austin Eckler will clear the concussion protocol and be out there on Sunday for the Commanders. So, so if Brian Robinson's out, at least there will be, somebody there for my Commanders.
Yeah. The work he gets, he feels like you would like to rest at least once or twice. I know the knee injury is legitimate. I'm not saying that.
Sure.
But does Brian Robinson need to practice the whole week to play? I don't think so.
No, he's gotten a tremendous amount of work as well, and they've gotten some nice productions from Jeremy McNichol, so he might be out there, but on a snap count as well. But also worth noting, not on the graphic, but just want to point out both Ken Walker and DK Metcalf went from full participants to partial, they're now listed as questionable. You never like to see guys heading the wrong direction as the week progresses, so that's something to monitor in Seattle. Again, 2 veterans who get banged up a lot, so maybe it's just a precautionary move on a Thursday, but because Ken Walker was on the list, was on the injury report last week, and then obviously fully cleared and had a monster game and almost helped me, slap the great back. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.